But yeah, exceptions aside, whenever season 3 did try to focus in on the friendship, it was always the very idealized, this friendship is perfect because it's friendship. That's just how friendships work. No, it's not. I mean, like, okay, it should be portrayed as something special, but I mean, because of what they've achieved together, what they've worked their way up to, and just doing what those other shows doing. Say, no, this is friendship. It's just perfect. It's just not because of anything they do, just because it's friendship, just because it's perfect. That well, specifically the example I'm thinking of is Magical Mystery Cure, where yeah, see, true friends, they care about each other more than anything. They just do. If if they're in trouble, that's all the motivation a friend needs. You can overcome anything with the motivation to help your friend. You can recover your destiny. You can I mean, because friends want to help each other more than they want anything. And if you ever heard the expression "being in love with love," that's kind of what I see this as. Where yeah, the writers, that's kind of what I thought they were going for. They don't really want you to love anything about this particular friendship, any particular details about it. It's not really the specific details of this specific friendship. It's just the idea of friendship. They just want you to love the idea of the fantasy of a friendship this perfect. So yeah, just like in love with love. Just you don't really love the other person that much. They just can be the object of this fantasy of a perfect romantic relationship. That yeah, these characters can just be the object of a fantasy of a perfect friendship. And okay, so yeah, that did not nearly provide what the first two seasons did, which, like I said, seemed really inspired and just really surprisingly relatable in a lot of ways. And or if you want a more subtle example, in season 3 there was Magical Mystery Cure, where at the end they say the magic of friendship solved this problem, but okay, allowed them to pull a fast one on Trixie, but common logic, Twilight's cleverness allowed them to do that. It was figuring out that okay, that's what it would take to get Trixie to take this amulet off. And I mean, they could have tied it into friendship if they'd wanted. They could have said that they were able to work together to pull off these tricks because they work together so well, because they're such good friends. Like if they'd wanted to say that the tricks are kind of hard to do, or that they trust Twilight to pull it off, even though it's a risky move for them to do this because they're friends and they know her that well. I mean, they could have maybe tied it into friendship that way, but they didn't. Just any random praise they can heap on friendship to idealize it, to play it up. So, okay, that was season three's problem to me with the friendship, that when it actually bothered. And I don't see season four as the complete antithesis of that. Just like, okay, heck with that noise, let's get it out of there. We're gonna reconnect. I don't think season four was a reaction to the backlash from season three. I mean, I'm sure they got wind a little bit of some of the what Magical Mystery Cure stirred up, because apparently there was a big reaction. But okay, I more so see it as them just like trying to go in this different direction and trying to get into it, trying to find ways to get behind it. Like there were a lot of new writers on the team actually, and I could see them just wanting to get up to speed as fast as possible and wanting to make a worthwhile, meaningful contribution to so they'll be hired back to write more episodes, or at very least so they can put this on their resume and be proud of it, get a good recommendation from the people who hired them for that. And I don't know, but maybe the older writers too realizing that they didn't really have any ideas left, that they couldn't just run on autopilot to go in this new direction and seriously expect this show to continue, expect anyone to still consider it worthwhile. So maybe after realizing they didn't have a whole lot of ideas, that they hadn't really come up with any new ideas, maybe they felt the drive to. But okay, so yeah, season four, it feels like more like it has the ambition to draw that out, to build its way up to that. And I don't know if the order of the episodes, if it's pure coincidence or what, but it did seem like it was building its way up to that. Like it wasn't like it didn't happen right away. And I mean, and well, since the earlier episodes were written first, I mean, maybe some writers did need to hit their stride, or maybe they just didn't have as much time with the episodes that had to come out first. But whatever the reason, yeah, season four, for most, I felt like it had to work its way up to that, and for most of the season four, I felt like I was just trying to work with it, like I was humoring it, or like, well, I think this is pretty telling. Instead of going into each episode wondering how it might surprise me, I went in hoping that it would. So I think that says a lot. And for the first 5 or 6 episodes, I thought it was on the right track. I thought it was definitely getting there. Like Princess Twilight Sparkle, even though I would have to rank it. How many two-parters have there been? 5. I would have to rank it fourth out of the 5 two-parters, and yeah, no, there have been 6. I would have to rank it 5th out of the 6 two-parters. But yeah, it seemed like it was laying down some great groundwork, thinking of a lot of new ideas, new problems these characters would be facing just based on where life had taken them. It seemed like it had a good sense of how they would respond to that. Very happy. The first few episodes after that seemed like they were going along the same line, still trying to draw that out, even the ones I didn't like all that much. And episode 5 was probably the high point of that. I thought it was almost great, so definitely getting there. 6 was another Spike episode, so I wasn't bothered too much when it wasn't quite as good. I felt like it was still trying to do the right kind of thing. But 7 and 8, I did start to lose hope. It felt again kind of like just formula, like 7, the thing like these animals come along doing what animals do. One character says, okay, they're animals, you need to understand how that works, you need to think of a solution that takes how they work into account. One character says, nope, they're bothering me now, I want to fix it now. That's been done very much before. It didn't really convince me that Applejack fit that role just like that. It seemed like it shoved her into it, and it seemed like it kind of, after it forced this setup to happen, it seemed like it thought of some ways to maybe do something with these friends, like Applejack made a recovery towards the end, so okay, I was mixed on that. Episode 8, I probably shouldn't say too much about that, but I felt like that had even less a sense of how any of this would play into these characters. I felt like it was the magical mystery cure thing all over again, just wanting you to love the idea of drama and friendship being taken to its breaking point, just like these extreme friendships and these extreme reactions without actually thinking how they would happen, without being very relatable in that sense or identifiable, just like, yeah, just, yeah, loving drama because it's drama. Thought it was kind of, I thought Rarity was kind of flanderized, and I don't know, the time to talk about Rarity Takes Manhattan is probably another day. But anyway, after that, I did think it started to go back to what it did before. And I was still willing to work with it, but by now I was starting to think like, okay, that's a long time to go without a great episode, a long time to go to still feel like it's trying to build its way out. I mean, how long am I going to have to wait for it? Is it ever going to happen? And episode 12, Pinky's Pride, while I did think it was a great one, eventually, you'll remember that I didn't think so after the first time after I finished watching it. I had to go back and think like, okay, you know what, point for point, I do think this would probably, I do think this adds up to a great one. It does. There's one point I kind of misunderstood before that I get now, so okay, I do think it adds up to a great one, but I was still disappointed with it. I mean, it's still, some of it still felt like formula. I mean, and, again, formula, when I say formula, what I mean is it felt like formula and not in something, and not something that's relatable or identifiable. Because many episodes will use a basic structure, but okay, when I say formula, what I mean is formula for the sake of formula, not because it ties into these characters. So, just thought I'd establish that. But all right, so yeah, when I got to that one Pinky, because the formula there, a new challenger approaches, a rival who can do anything as good or better than you, and then the character who they're replacing feels jealous, feels left out in the rain, and has to mope about it and feel bad about it until they decide to confront the problem, and then we can solve it. Okay, it seemed like it was following that formula to follow that formula to be dramatic in that sense, not so much because it fit. Like, it did not convince me that Pinkie Pie would have the reaction she had, just that extreme and that sad and dramatic and that, like, just very, yeah, just that, like, it would have that perfectly, the effect would be that perfectly devastating. And it also, I questioned the friends having the reaction they did at first. I warmed up to that. So, okay, at the end, I was still kind of disappointed. Like, okay, wow, even with Weird Al and an episode that fits him perfectly, I'm still having some of these problems. Like, will I ever leave them behind? And so the episode to actually break the mold for me was Simple Ways, which just because every moment of Simple Ways, there's just so much. It seems there's so much enthusiasm to every moment there. I mean, it's a plot we've also seen before in some ways, but it seemed to really think about, okay, how would it fit these characters? Just everything that Rarity does, it's like just very It has a very strong sense of Rarity's eccentricity and her vanity a little bit, and her just, I mean, her good nature, just like, well, so what makes her tick and everything. But for example, like when everybody starts going after her, accusing her of, well, Applejack specifically, accusing her of trying to be more like Applejack because just to win a date, she uh, takes her Rarity persnickety attitude. Well, maybe you just don't know me as well as you think. And then Applejack, in turn, because she's Applejack, has a pretty strong sense of empathy, and she's able to see this for what it is and see what would help Rarity recover a little bit, what would get her to snap out of it. So, okay, everything about Simple Ways kind of reminded me of the earlier seasons. Just, yeah, the very great sense of enthusiasm to explore these characters and all of the above. So, okay, that broke the mold. The great episodes started to come, but I mean, still, like when you're, for example, 20 episodes in and you've had 3 or 4 great ones, you don't know how many total you're gonna have. You still feel like you're behind. Uh, you're not up to what the other ones were. You still feel like you're behind the mark or whatever the expression is. So yeah, by episode 20, 21, whatever, I was thinking, okay, that one was great, but I mean, okay, this one is okay, and I still felt like I was humoring it, just trying to work with it. So, but it kept it up until episode 24, and I thought, like, okay, well, I mean, I guess it's still definitely worse than the first two, but I mean, if it's able to deliver a great two-parter, like they like a two-parter that's one of the best episodes, which the first few also were. Okay, I can at least say it maybe fit the bill, that it made it up to is in the same league at least. And not only did it make one that was that great, it made possibly the best two-parter, and so that gives season 4 actually something that it well, the first 2 seasons had that the second 2 didn't up to this point. Something it could hold over all the others. Something it could say that it had that the other ones didn't. In this case, the two-parter, which is distinct for being the most action, well, possibly the best one, and also sort of the action-packed one, and the one that takes these characters to a new level, to a new place. So, and well, also because of the subplot that tied into that it wove throughout the season. Okay, that's something season 4 has to hold over all the other ones, and every season except for season 3 has now had that. So, okay, I can definitely say season 4 has worked its way back up to that, and that I can expect that from the writers again. So, I'm kind of excited for that, and because of that, I definitely want to see what they can do with season 5. And like they already kind of brought that same enthusiasm to Rainbow Rocks, although actually I glanced over the fact that I didn't like Rainbow Rocks the first time, but I finished it, and yeah, but I mean, I thought I was going to be putting a dark spin on season 4's recovery, like it recovered only to blow the movie did after that, because I mean, only to blow it there, because yeah, I mean, I well, I realized I'd have to watch it again after it. I heard there was another cut. I figured how did I find out there was a longer cut? However, I did. Once I found that out, I knew I'd have to watch it again, and plus there was something that fell into place there that didn't before. So okay, I do think it was better than the first Equestria Girls. Not like in another league better. I mean, I think it gets a lot of credit just for not being what the first one was. I mean, I thought that they were both like passable movies. Although the first Equestria Girls was a little more obligatory, so yeah, it is a little worse. But I mean, yeah, I think Rainbow Rocks was good, was fairly good. I think I don't think it was great. I thought it was a little bit shabby in some spots. Not everything just builds together for a perfect punch, but not everything ties together. It builds together. Not everything ties together for a perfect effect. But no, I did think it was good. But yeah, I thought I was going to be taking a dark turn there. Like that song, "A Whale of a Tale" I did at the end. I thought I was going to be calling it "A Fail of a Tale." That's when I first thought of it. So, okay, yeah. So I'm glad that worked out. But all right. So that's pretty much all I have to say, though. So that's okay. Why I have higher hopes for season 5 than I did coming into season 4. So all right, we'll see how that works out.